Hi, my name's Helen and this is my channel, Helen Mary Jo. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're returning, thank you. And if you're a house bell, hello. I'm back. I'm back from South Africa and I'm back with a cold. I don't know if you can hear it. I have had a really nasty cold since I came home, and I've got that thing, you know, where your voice is echoing in your ear. So I sound very strange to myself. I don't know what I sound like to you guys, but I'm on the tail end, so I sort of finally mustered the energy to report back to you all before it all gets a dim and distant memory for me and for you, and nobody cares what I've got to say. So today's video is kind of part 3 of the holiday and a little review on the whole South Africa trip and Azamara in general. We were on the Azamara pursuit. I have got some notes because there's a lot to remember on this one. You know, I don't normally have any notes or crib sheets or anything like that. It just comes in and out, which is why often when people comment, I can't remember what I've said. I have to watch it back. Anyway, on that note, on comments, I have got behind with the comments. And, you know, it's always been a kind of thing for me that I do appreciate the comments so very much. So I have been reading most of them, but what I'm going to do, not today because I still don't feel 100%, but by the end of this week, I will go through and I will heart all of them, which kind of signifies that I've read them. If there's questions that I can answer quickly, I will do. If you have a burning question and you feel that I didn't answer it, just ask me again on another video. It doesn't have to be on this, you know, pertaining to the video that you comment on, but just so that I can catch up. I'd really appreciate that because I don't like having this mass of comments that I haven't been able to respond to, because they mean a lot to me. And I have always kept up to date with all of that, but I just have not had the time. The Wi-Fi situation on the boat was non-existent really, so that's a whole other saga. So for those who haven't watched any of these, we flew to Cape Town. We had 3 nights in Cape Town, and then we were boarding the Azamara Pursuit cruise ship, which I've never done Azamara before. A very small boat. There was only about 560 passengers on board, and it was excellent. I have said this in previous videos about this holiday, but the cruise itself, in my opinion, I can only speak for me and Rob, we thought it was excellent, and I'll go into a bit more detail. So we had 3 nights in Cape Town at the Commodore Hotel, and which was perfectly lovely. The rooms were clean, the bathrooms were big, the showers were huge, everything was comfortable. The breakfasts were very good. They weren't included, but we did end up paying for that, because when we went out first thing in the morning, nothing was open. So we did that. And then while we were there, I decided to book a day room for when we returned. There was a young lady there called Tatum. Hello, Tatum. She was really helpful. She made a couple of phone calls for me to change some transfers and things. And because we were getting off the ship, the boat was coming back to Cape Town after the holiday, and the tour company had originally wanted to pick us up at 10 AM from the ship and drop us at the airport. Well, our flight wasn't until 6:45 in the evening. So, you know, I did try and change that before I left, but I only noticed just before I went on holiday. So do check those things where they think they're going to drop you, because they were just going to like drop us at the airport for like a whole day, basically. The ship does offer a tour that a lot of people did do, which basically you put your luggage into the coach, and then they go on a little tour of Cape Town, and then they take you to the airport. But similarly, some friends were on the same flight as us, the 6:45 in the evening flight, and they were dropped at the airport just after 1 PM. Well, nobody needs to be at the airport for that kind of time. We had really a comfortable day in Cape Town. Went up to the room, sorry, it's flipping cold. Went up to the room, got showered, organised, and headed off to the airport for 4 o'clock, which was still really early. So that would be my recommendation. Check your connection times, the transfers that have been booked for you, and change them as soon as possible. So when we had our first 3 days in Cape Town, we went on the hop on, hop off bus, which is brilliant because it's very reasonably priced. Everything in South Africa is, at the moment, for us, very, very reasonable. And it's a good way to get a feel for a city. It's safe. They give you lots of information. And we got off in a place called Mosel Bay, which is the most beautiful, beautiful white sandy beach, very trendy. And we just had we had breakfast there off the hop on hop off bus, and then we just mooched about in Cape Town the following. Oh gosh, see, this is why I need the notes. We did the Aquila Game Reserve, which I have mentioned before, and that's 2 hours each way, so it's a bit of a schlep, really. I don't think I'd bother with that again if I was going. I would rather go on a bit more of a real safari. That is a little bit of a token gesture. Only one dressed in khaki. I look like a right flipping idiot. There was ladies with sequin dresses on, for goodness sake. Sundresses, and I was there in khaki. Looked like I was Crocodile Dundee or something. What an idiot. But anyway, at least if the elephants had stormed us, they wouldn't have seen me. But yeah, I'll talk a bit more about clothes in a second. So we did that. It was all fabulous. The food in Cape Town is out of this world. The standard is outstanding and the price is so reasonable. So tick, 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 tick. So we got on the ship. I can't remember sea days and all that. There were too many sea days, I do know that, but that's because they'd had to cut out 2 ports already. So we went to Durban, and we were warned in Durban that there is only one place you can walk to, which is the Botanical Gardens. Do not walk anywhere else. I've read all of this beforehand. If you're not on Facebook, I would urge you, if you're doing a holiday like that, to join Facebook, even if it's just for that period, because I went on to the Azamara and I joined a couple of Azamara groups and I got so many tips from people. They have, you know, break off kind of chats that are just about the cruises that you're doing. So like this was the South Africa intensive, and I got so many good tips from that. So one of them said, nothing to see in Durban. It's quite a dangerous place. So we just got a taxi to the Oyster Box Hotel, and you've seen a couple of photographs of that already, I think, where I'm sitting outside in the little rickshaw thing. And it's like Raffles, but it's much, much nicer, to be honest with you. And we had the whole of the upstairs lighthouse bar to ourselves, and we had a lovely chat with the waitress there. They all wear pearls, it's so cute. And then we had lunch on the terrace overlooking the sea, and it was magical for us. Sadly, 2 different lots of passengers on the cruise ship were robbed, and I would never say it's your own fault, but really we were told do not walk anywhere, and people kind of think, yeah, Rob's a bit like that. Oh, I'm from London, I know what danger is, but you know, you're not from that country, so just be warned and don't do anything silly. And it was horrible for them. I mean, truly horrible. One lady was injured, and yeah, so I don't know if they're going to carry on being able to do Durban, because lots of people said, well, what's the point? You can't go anywhere. But maybe they could do it that you can only do organised trips. Anyway, not my problem. So then we went to Richards Bay, and oh, the night of the Durban visit, where we went to the Oyster Box Hotel, it was the White Night. Now, White Night is peculiar to Azamara, and that's when they have, usually on the deck, if the weather's good enough, which it was, thank goodness. Sorry, I know I'm really nasally. And everyone dresses in white, and it's a really good party. And that's where I think I already showed you the dancers and everything. Fabulous, fabulous. And people had everything white, from white trousers and a white blouse for the ladies, right through to a beaded white full-length evening dress. So, you know, anything went really. And you didn't have to wear white, but it's just kind of nice if you're part of it. And all the crew come out, 48 different nationalities on that ship of crew. And they don't all come out, obviously, but representatives from each area on the ship. So, you know, everything from the laundry through to the stewards and everything come out holding all these different flags. So it's marvellous, really. And I've never met happier crew on a ship in my life. So that was all good. So then we went to Richards Bay, and that's the day that we saw the hippos and the out on the boat. And I think, you know, when you come from a small country like England, you don't realise that in these big countries, they think nothing of a 2-hour drive. Whereas for us, I think usually we expect to unpack after 2 hours, don't we? We don't generally just drive 2 hours to do something for an hour and then come away again. But it was worth it. It was very interesting to see the hippos and the weaver birds and all of that stuff. We did see a crocodile, but he was too quick for us. He got away too quickly before we could get a photograph. So that was all lovely. Now I will just talk a little bit more about the ship and say that there are plenty of quiet spaces on the boat. There's the drawing room, there's the living room, there's an area called the den, there's the Mosaics Cafe where you can get tea, coffee, little pastries all day long. There's obviously the patio deck, there's the sun deck. Even though it's a very small boat comparatively to, I've only done Cunard and Princess before, but I personally much preferred it. Couldn't get lost. If you walked the whole ship, it wouldn't take you 10 minutes. So even if you went completely the wrong way, it wouldn't take you 5 minutes to come back and go the other way. So for me, I much preferred it. The upside is that you get to know loads and loads of people. The downside is if you come across people that you don't particularly get on with, you can't avoid them. You kind of can, but you kind of can't. But, you know, that's just grown-up behaviour, isn't it? You have to deal with that in life generally. So you've got, as I say, you've got the drawing room, the living room. You've got the den, which is where they do dancing quite often in the evenings. You've obviously got the cabaret lounge, which the stage is not up high, it's level with the floor. So it is quite inclusive, you know. And the team on board work incredibly hard. The entertainment director, Emily, I don't know her surname, she worked incredibly hard and was always present. And the captain was always present. You could talk to the captain easily. No problems whatsoever. You could have a chat with him. He was so accessible and he was honest and he kept us abreast of everything. They'd been struggling with some gastrointestinal problems the week before and they were still struggling with it. We were there. I met one lady who'd been sick. We were fine, thank goodness. The only single downside of that ship for me was the size when the seas had more movement. But as soon as I got my medication, I take Stugeron, as soon as I took that, I was fine. And I should have taken it sooner, but because I was feeling okay, I thought I was going to be suddenly miraculously cured. I don't know why, because I've always been somebody who gets seasick. So then you've got the patio grill where you can have beautifully fresh grilled like lamb, chicken, pork, I think, on skewers with salad. You can get burgers, you can get fish. I mean, that's excellent. We had lunch there most days, and Rob's favourite there was the frozen yoghurt machine, where he could put all his sprinkles and stuff on his yoghurt. I mean, that man is easily pleased. Then you've got the Windows buffet, which is your standard ship's buffet. We only use that twice. I'm not a big buffet person, but it was very good and they were very helpful and everything is served because obviously they're still trying to get away from any cross-contamination, which, you know, people tend to forget how careful you have to be. Anyway, and then you've got two specialty restaurants, Aquilina and Prime Sea. We bought a package before we went, which made it very economical, and it was fabulous. I preferred Prime Sea. The steak was out of this world. We had Chateaubriand the first night, and it was exquisite. I'll use that word, exquisite. It was just beautifully cooked. Loved it. So that was that. On whatever day it was, we went to Port Elizabeth. We were there for overnight and till 1 o'clock the following day. We did have a bit of a, it's difficult, isn't it? I don't think the guy would watch this, but I don't want to upset him either. So we had a chap who, it was actually his first official tour. He was an older man. He knew a lot about it. He knew a lot about the area. But I did sort of kind of smile when he first of all he said, I'm hard of hearing. Then he said his eyes weren't what they were. Then when he was getting out of the car, he let one go and said, I'm terribly sorry. And that just made me laugh. I mean, I know I'm childish. And then when we were leaving the park, he reversed into the car behind us and we had an accident. We had to go to the police station and then we had to drive at about 120 miles an hour to get back to the ship in time. So it was all a bit of a three-ring circus, but it was all fine and he did his job very well. That was also the day that I had a really sore throat, so we didn't go out with him the next day. I just didn't feel well enough. And we saw loads of elephants. I've got a really good video that I will cut down to try and get just the bit where we're watching a family of elephants at the watering hole, and like 2 elephants come in from one side and go across the water, and then the other elephants are there, and then one of them just shoves the other elephant in. I mean, it's so kind of human behaviour where this bigger elephant just nudges and pushes this other smaller, younger elephant into the water. It was very, very funny. So I'll put that up and I'll put a few photographs up of these different... Did you see it? Oh, that was so funny. Different places that I'm talking about. We saw zebra, we saw antelope, we saw tortoise, we saw a dung beetle, we saw a meerkat, we saw lots there. So that was all fabulous. That night was the As Amazing evening, which is what they call their sort of immersive, cultural immersive evening, where I think this is amazing. I think it's as amazing because they don't have to do this, do they? You know, that's what I will say about Azamara. You feel like they are giving, not just taking. Cunard was very nickel and diming you. Every single thing you felt like they were going, how much? Give me some money, give me some money. With this, you know, water was plentiful, drinks were plentiful. They don't count how many you've had to drink. They are just, it just feels really comfortable. You don't feel like there's it's not at all adversarial. It's family. It feels like you are their guests and that they are really happy to have you there. And that is a lovely feeling. Makes you feel wanted and makes you feel like you're all in it together. So anyway, God, I do go off on one, don't I? So the As Amazing evening. Anyone who is on the ship is welcome to go. You don't have to commit to going. They just do it decks at a time. They call you, get on a coach, and they take you to, in this case, it was the Feather Market Hall. And you go in there and there's all local people dressed in their native traditional costumes and things. Beautiful, beautiful costumes. The captain was also dressed in sort of part of a costume with face paint on and stuff. And I did question him about that because, you know, we have that thing now about cultural misappropriation. And I said, you know, like on a bit sticky ground here. And he knew exactly what I meant. And he said, well, they've invited us to do this and it would be rude not to. And I thought, oh, that's a good point, you know. And the entertainment director equally was dressed in one of these amazing hats, which you'll see in some of the photographs. And they was singing and we all had a welcome drink and stuff. And then we sat down for about a 50-minute show, I suppose, of music and dance. and some explanation about their local dialect, which is the Costa language, when they do that clicking thing, which I cannot even try to do. I tried, I was pathetic. But if they've got a name, if there's a cue, that's when they do that. Like, I can't do it, but they just work it into their language. It's amazing. They learn it from a child. So we did that, and then we were bussed again back to the ship, where there was more food for people that hadn't managed to eat beforehand, and that was great fun too. Oh dear, sorry, I've got to get a drink. The next day, I said I had this terribly sore throat. It felt like I had a cold fall in my throat. And so I didn't want to go on any kind of excursion, and the ship was moving at 1, so it didn't give us an awful lot of time. So we dived into the local shopping centre, and I got my nails done actually, because a couple of them had chipped and they looked awful. And I went to a nail bar, and that hour and a quarter in that nail bar probably told me more about South Africa, the real what's going on in South Africa, than the rest of the trip put together. And it was hair raising and awful and terrifying and shocking and so sad. And I won't tell you some of what I was told, because I don't want to upset anybody, I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to distress anybody really, because some of what I was told was horrific. There's no other word for it, but they were lovely girls, women, and we had a really good chat, and they really appreciated my interest actually. So yeah, it's a very, very sad state of affairs, because it's truly a beautiful, beautiful, outstandingly beautiful country, and the corruption is ruining it, really. That's all I can say. So anyway, a little bit more about the ship. My clothes that I took were fine, but I had been told very much that it's quite casual, that it is not formal, but there were a fair few people not dressed formally as in, you know, full-length evening gowns, but what I would call like cocktail party. And I very much wished I had taken my clothes that were like that more than kind of my summer clothes, because I don't get to wear that stuff very often, and I've got it all upstairs, and it was kind of annoying because I was like, oh, flip, I've got that at home, you know, and it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter. And what I was wearing was a lot smarter than a lot of people. But if I had my time again, I would take different clothes. Plus, I took quite a few long sleeve t-shirts, and I really didn't need a long sleeve t-shirt anywhere. So that's what I would do differently. I only took kind of espadrilles and sandals, and I wished I'd taken more like a pair of court shoe kind of sandals, because again, there was a lot of that going on. I wished, oh, there's Rob home now. Hang on one second. Equally, I wish that I had taken my jewellery to wear in the evening, because I do feel really naked without my rings, because I do wear them day in, day out, all of the time. And there's Dolly. I know you'll all be more interested in her than what I'm saying. And I could have easily left them in the safe, and the ship was totally secure and safe. You know, there was nothing to worry about on that score at all. So, hello. That's my kind of, when I say regret, I mean really, like, get a grip, love. It wasn't a big deal. But if I had my time again, I would do that differently. So then we got back to, we were supposed to go into Mosel Bay, which I was kind of looking forward to, because I hadn't really bought any souvenirs, and that was kind of where I was planning to do that stuff. But the swell, the sea didn't look really rough, but the swell was bad, and they couldn't get anybody on the tender. In fact, there were some poor devils that they managed to the first group, they got onto the tender, and friends of ours' balcony overlooked that. They said they were virtually throwing them on. And then the tender got caught under the passenger deck, and that was quite hair-raising, I think. And a window was smashed on the tender, so it must have been quite scary for the people that were then on a boat going round and round in the sea. Before about half an hour, they said, we're bringing them back on and we can't take you off, it's too dangerous. So a lot of people whinging about that. But, you know, I kind of said, look how lucky we are. You know, we're in the sunshine, we're being waited on hand and foot, we're on a lovely ship, we've got all our food provided. I know it's disappointing, but, you know, come on. But you see, by the time I'd booked the holiday, they'd already taken 2 destinations off. So it was supposed to be, not in this order, but Richards Bay, Durban, East London, Maputo, which is Mozambique, Port Elizabeth, I'll probably get all these off, and Mosel Bay. So we had a lot of sea days and not so many ports, but I didn't have a big agenda, so for me it wasn't a big problem, but I understand if that's what you were really looking forward to. So we couldn't get off at Mosel Bay, so he just headed off at a slower pace to Cape Town. We got back to Cape Town. We actually had to moor right at the V&A waterfront, which was great for us because it's literally, you just get off the ship and you're in the sort of centre of town, which is a really buzzy place, and the food was just marvellous. Made our food here generally looks so mediocre. But anyway, so we had a last day there, and the couple that we met, Jane and Nigel, who were just such fun. And we went out with them for the day in a taxi, because everywhere you went, you could just get a taxi and they knew, you know, they would take you. If you had a list of what you wanted to do, you agree a price up front, and they're very interesting to talk to too. And we went to Franschhoek and Stellenbosch to the wineries, and the scenery is, I mean, I've used all my superlatives, haven't I? But the scenery was out of this world. And we went to the Graf winery in Stellenbosch, and I felt like I've been dropped into the set of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something. It was so fancy and so beautiful. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. We had a tasting menu there, tasting wines there with a charcuterie board, and I think it cost us about £12.50 each, which is just ridiculous. I mean, it was so fancy, this place. It was just like how the other half live, honestly. But with those prices, we could all live like it. So that was our last day, and we kind of left on like a blaze of glory, because those, when I see those really, really breathtaking vistas, I always get that hymn going through my head, you know, oh Lord, when I in awesome wonder of all the things, you know, how great thou art. And that always just goes through my head, because you're just such a little speck on this planet, aren't you? But it was beautiful, and we had a great last day and a great last evening, and I would give it 10 out of 10. And I would definitely do another Azamara cruise. So I'll just quickly show you some little trinkets that I bought as souvenirs. Just on the last day, we went to a shop called Africa. I obviously lost the plot a little bit because I paid more than I would ever pay for this at home. So there's a little jug here that's got this quite traditional pattern on it. Just so cute. I've always been a sucker for little jugs like this. And this was about £16, I suppose. Then I bought these 4 little bowls, which are just so cute. And these are about £4 each. So there's a little, what is that? Like a little pea pot, I think. I don't really know, but it's got the green and I've got the blue, dark blue. I thought these are so cute for, you know, if you want to put oil and vinegar or any little dips or anything on. And then a green one, with a fish. So those 4 colours, which I thought were rather lovely. And then to go on the shelf in the front room, I got this, which is an ostrich egg with a map of Africa, and then a rhino each side. And I just thought, it's kind of not in your face souvenir, and it just stands on this little bracelet. And this was £25, well, £23 probably. It's got on the end. So that was our holiday, and I would thoroughly recommend it. So anyway, it's a quick whiz through. If anyone's got any questions, if they want to ask me anything in particular, I will do my level best to help you. The crew were fabulous. The offices were delightful. I spoke to the executive chef. I spoke to the head of guest relations, and none of this was kind of protected. They were all more than happy to talk to me, and friendly then afterwards, you know, because they kind of knew who I was. And so, and we met a couple of people actually who were travelling on their own. One was a lady who'd been widowed about 17 months ago. And she too said it was so friendly, and she was having a lovely time. So that's it. That's my Azamara, as amazing African holiday. So back to normal service as soon as I can, as soon as I can get rid of this pesky cold and get the energy to make some new content. And I'll see you really soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.